Thank you for being with us on the Feast of St. Edward the Confessor. I'm Montse Alvarado in for Tracy Sabol. Our top story tonight. It's been almost 1 week since Hamas terrorists massacred hundreds of Israelis, dozens of Americans among those killed. And as the violence and uncertainty unfolds in the Middle East, President Joe Biden has told CBS 60 Minutes his administration is doing everything in its power to bring home hostages held by Hamas. That's if they can be found. White House Correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen.
Monty, earlier today, President Biden spoke virtually with the families of the American hostages and those unaccounted for, totaling 14 in all. Now, the president told 60 Minutes, as you alluded to, he wants family members to know he cares deeply about what's happening, and he calls what Hamas has done pure barbarism. And in Pennsylvania today, the president once again emphasized the U.S. stands with Israel.
At the port in Philadelphia, President Joe Biden delivers a speech on green energy and hydrogen hubs. But first, he discusses the situation in Israel.
The more we learned about the attack, the more horrifying it becomes. More than 1,000 innocent lives lost, including at least 27 Americans.
Across the globe, his Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, arrives in Tel Aviv to meet with senior government leaders and underscore America's unwavering support for Israel. At a news briefing with his Israeli counterpart, Austin telling reporters the world has just witnessed a great evil, the bloodiest day in Jewish history since the end of the Holocaust.
So make no mistake, the United States will make sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself. And Israel has a right to protect its people.
For now, tanks and armored vehicles on the move near Israel's border with Gaza. No indication the U.S. is trying to prevent an expected Israeli ground offensive. And that could worsen a humanitarian crisis for the 2.3 million Palestinians. Here, people packing up their cars as they leave northern Gaza. The Israeli Defense Forces called on all civilians of Gaza City to evacuate. The White House confirming that will be no easy task, trying to move civilians out of harm's way so they're not used as human shields.
I mean, Hamas actually gave a counter order to telling Palestinians in Gaza to stay at home. Why? Because having human shields, they think, protects them.
And back overseas in Jordan, Secretary of State Antony Blinken meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Blinken has opened a second day of frantic Mideast diplomacy, seeking to avert an expanded regional conflict.
Now back to the virtual conversation the president had with 14, family members of the 14 Americans unaccounted for or who are right now being held hostage. Also in that meeting was National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, along with Hostage Affairs Special Envoy and the National Security Council Coordinator for the Middle East. Monty?
Thank you so much, Owen.